with Liberty of London with that thematic. So where things were different with me, of course, is that
supportive, and I think just naturally I was doing what I've always loved to do, and people couldn't see that more broadly.
I called him that evening and I was like, look, I'm leaving the day after tomorrow. Do you want to grab dinner tomorrow night?
October 1st, 2025. Picture this. Someone's just casually scrolling through the official royal family website. You know, the usual. Stiff portraits, family lineage, nothing exciting. But then, bam, something feels off, like really off. Harry and Meghan's pages, completely different. Gone were those detailed bios that used to brag about their glittering lives, all their education, career highlights, and fancy achievements. Poof. Vanished. What's left now? Practically nothing. Just a few dry sentences. Actress. Former military. That's it. And get this, everyone else's pages, totally normal. Catherine's still glowing in a perfectly detailed bio. Sophie's got hers, untouched. Every other working royal has their whole story proudly displayed, except these two. So obviously everyone's like, hold up, what happened here? Why them? Why now?
It's very, very telling when the British monarchy's website deletes details from the bio.
And what on earth was so sensitive in those sections that someone decided to delete them altogether? Because once people started digging into what disappeared, oh honey, it turned out to be way deeper than a simple website update. It's almost suspicious. Catherine's bio? Still polished, still perfect. Sophie's? Not a word changed. But Meghan and Harry? Chopped, erased, scrubbed. Something was definitely going on, and that timing
started with something so subtle most people would have missed it. A quiet update on the official royal family website. The kind of thing
chef's kiss suspicious. And when you peek at what actually got removed, the education, the life experience parts, it suddenly makes sense why the palace might want to quietly press delete. Because some of those details, they weren't exactly adding up. There's a much bigger story brewing beneath that royal surface, and that's what we're diving into today. But first, you know how it goes? If you love uncovering the messy truth behind all that polished PR sparkle, hit subscribe, hit like, and don't forget those notifications.
Very, very telling when the British monarchy's website deletes details from the bio.
Because what we've uncovered here, it's not just edits, it's a pattern, a deliberate one. So stay with me, because once you see everything they quietly erased, the reason behind it becomes crystal clear. Let's start with Meghan's page, shall we? Specifically, her education, because this is where the tea starts spilling.
Well, if you are a watcher of the royal family and you like secrets, you might want to sit down.
For years, her royal bio proudly declared she went to Northwestern University, majoring in both theater and international relations. I mean, impressive, right? One part artist, one part diplomat. The perfect combo for someone stepping onto the world stage. But here's where things start to wobble. Northwestern doesn't actually offer a major in international relations.
Started with something so subtle most people would have missed it. A quiet update on the official royal family website.
What they do have is international studies. Sounds similar, sure, but it's not the same program. So right there's already a mismatch between what Meghan's bio claimed and what the school even offers. At first, people thought, okay, maybe it's just a typo, no big deal. But then, of course, the internet detectives kicked in. They pulled out old Northwestern yearbooks, scrolled through the 2003 graduation photos, and guess what?
Prince William, he clearly had a special connection with the Queen and Prince Philip.
Meghan wasn't in the class photo. Now, maybe she just skipped picture day. Happens. But then some staff members mentioned she wasn't seen around campus during her final semester either. So now people are whispering, did she finish on time? Did she graduate the way her bio says she did? At that point, the palace had options. They could have clarified, added a note, fixed the program name. You know, the grown-up thing to do. But nope. They went with the erase everything approach. Poof, gone. Her page now says nothing about Northwestern. No degree, no major, nothing. And if everyone else's pages got simplified too, maybe it wouldn't stand out. But guess what? Catherine's entire education at St. Andrews is still listed. Her art history degree
started with something so subtle most people would have missed it. A quiet update on the official royal family website.
Still glowing. Sophie's career path? Untouched. Clearly, when the records match the story, there's no need to edit. But when the facts don't quite line up, snip, snip. That was just one section. Now let's talk about another vanished detail. Meghan's famous Argentina internship. Ah yes, the Buenos Aires chapter. For years, Meghan proudly spoke about her official internship at the U.S. Embassy in Argentina. The way she told it, it sounded glamorous and impressive. Diplomatic work, global exposure, all that good stuff. It was the kind of experience that makes a resume sparkle. But then, the people who were actually there at the time started talking. And their version?
Family's website has officially been updated to include the titles of Harry and Meghan's children. For more information on...
Let's just say it didn't exactly match Meghan's storytelling. Turns out it wasn't an official US government internship at all. It was, well, a family favor. Apparently Meghan's uncle had connections and pulled some strings to get her in the door. Not as an intern, but more like a shadow. She got to observe, tag along for a few weeks, but not as part of any real program. And look, that's not a scandal on its own. People network, families help each other out. That's life. But there's a huge difference between I had an embassy internship and my uncle got me permission to tag along for a bit. And let's not forget the timing. This was 2002 when Argentina was in full-blown economic chaos. Riots, protests, the whole country on edge. During that time, embassy staff were basically on lockdown. Strict movement rules, security alerts. It wasn't exactly a tango and tapas kind of trip. So when Meghan later described it like some cultural study abroad, learning Spanish, soaking up the vibes of Buenos Aires, it raised eyebrows. Because those who were actually there, they remembered something very different. So once again, the palace must have looked at this and gone, are we really gonna fact check this one every week? And just like that, gone. All references to Argentina erased from her bio. No mention of the embassy, no diplomatic experience, nothing. And it's kind of a pattern at this point, right? Instead of clarifying or explaining, they just delete. Now that brings us to something that might sound small, even silly at first, a high school story, but it actually says a lot. See, Meghan's talked about this cute memory from her high school grad night at Disneyland back in 1999. You know, that classic California teen rite of passage, the all-night celebration at the park after graduation. She's told it multiple times, even with this nostalgic tone, like, oh, that was such a magical night. But when journalists checked with her high school, turns out, yeah, that event never happened. That year's official grad night was canceled because not enough students signed up. So, no official trip, no buses, no school-organized Disneyland night. Sure, maybe some kids went on their own, but the official part, the one Meghan keeps reminiscing about, didn't exist. And normally you'd shrug that off, right? Everyone misremembers things sometimes, but here's the kicker. Meghan's told this story over and over again. She's repeated it like it's solid fact. Even Harry's backed her up on it in interviews as if it's part of their shared story. So now you've got yet another publicized detail that doesn't align with actual records. From the palace's perspective, it's probably like, why risk having to explain that? Easier to just quietly move it into the delete folder along with everything else. So that's 3 major stories scrubbed from Meghan's page. Northwestern Argentina Disneyland. But it's not just her. Oh no. Harry's bio took some hits too. And that's where the gossip really deepens. Let's talk about Harry's school days, back when he was at Eton, the elite of the elite. You know, the kind of school where future prime ministers, aristocrats, and royals grow up surrounded by privilege and pressure. The thing is, Harry's academic record at Eton has been a question mark for ages. There were always whispers, like, how much help did he get? According to former staffers, he seriously struggled to keep up. Like to the point where one teacher had to step in to help him with an art project. Not just advice or guidance, but actual hands-on help so he could pass. That same teacher later left Eton, not quietly mind you, and ended up taking legal action against the school. A settlement was reached, money changed hands, and both sides signed agreements to stay quiet. Now why does that matter? Because soon after, Harry got into Sandhurst, the UK's prestigious military academy. And Sandhurst doesn't just take anyone, it's competitive, selective. But when you're a prince, let's just say a few doors magically open for you. So Harry gets into Sandhurst, right? And everyone's like, wow, look at him, following in his father's footsteps, serving his country. But behind the royal gloss, there's this lingering question. How did he actually get in? Because if his academic struggles at Eton were as bad as people whispered, Sandhurst should have been out of reach. But of course, connections talk, titles walk, and the palace makes sure the path is cleared. Now, the palace could have dealt with all this back then. They could have clarified what really happened, explained that yes, Harry got extra help but still earned his place, but that's not what happened. Instead, they chose silence. And now, years later, the royal website has quietly erased the entire Eton and Sandhurst sections. No mention of his art coursework, no explanation, just gone. Think about it. Meghan's Northwestern story doesn't align. Her Argentina internship, more favor than formal. Her Disneyland grad night, didn't even happen that year. Harry's Eton years, questions, legal settlements, and quiet cover-ups. Sandhurst, a royal pass through the gates, each one on its own, small. But together, they form a pattern, a curated image that can't hold up under scrutiny. And maybe that's the saddest part, because the real versions of their stories are perfectly fine. Meghan, a hardworking actress from California who made it big. Harry, a royal who struggled in school but found purpose in the military. Those are human stories, relatable ones. But at some point, human wasn't shiny enough. The narratives had to be polished, elevated, made more perfect, until they weren't believable anymore. And now, with all the PR polish stripped away, we're left with the raw truth. Two people whose official biographies have been quietly rewritten by the very institution that once promoted them. You can almost feel the tension in that. Meghan and Harry, once the crown's golden couple, now reduced to footnotes on the royal website. No more glowing descriptions, no more embellished achievements, just titles, names, and blank space where the gloss used to be. And that silence says it all. Because when an institution as meticulous as the British monarchy removes something, it's never random. Every edit is deliberate, every word deleted is a decision. It's not just an update, it's a message. And what does that message say? Simple. We're done defending what doesn't hold up. The palace would rather erase than explain, rather cut than clarify. It's cleaner that way, less messy. But it also means the public gets to fill in the blanks themselves. And in 2025, those blanks become viral. So here we are, October 1st, 2025. What looked like a minor digital tweak turned out to be a quiet declaration, a sign that certain royal fairy tales just don't fit the official record anymore. And honestly, that's kind of fascinating, because in trying to hide the inconsistencies, they just made them impossible to ignore. So let's be real, the palace can delete all it wants, but the truth, the screenshots, the archives, the receipts, they're out there forever. And now, every curious royal watcher, every gossip channel, every journalist knows exactly where to look. The edits told us more than the bios ever did. It's not about the missing lines, it's about what those deletions reveal, that even the most powerful institution in the world can't fully control the story anymore. And that's the ultimate royal scandal of all. So whether it's Meghan's mysteriously disappearing degrees or Harry's vanished school tales, one thing's certain, the internet remembers even when the crown does not. Because in 2025, every quiet update becomes a headline. Every polished story stripped away leaves behind the one thing the royals hate most: questions. So yeah, that's the tea, my friends. The royal website update that wasn't just maintenance, it was a digital cleanup with serious meaning. A polite but pointed reminder that even royal fairy tales have expiration dates. And the truth? It's always messier than the PR. If you found this breakdown fascinating, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, because as we've learned today, there's always more going on beneath the surface than what they want you to see. And this was one of those moments where silence said everything.